Yeah, Owen, could you just take us through that moment, obviously, after the game, and how much of a surprise was it, and what was going through your head when all that happened?
Yeah, it was a huge surprise. Obviously, I had no idea. I was just happy we won the game. Everybody was hyped after that. It was a really good win. And then the coaches came in, we usually do, clap it up and then get in a huddle and talk about the game and stuff. And they had like the envelopes, one for ice. And I think he said Roddy had one, even though they didn't. I'm guessing the coaches wrote that in like the coaches' locker room to set it up, which they did a really good job because I had no idea what they were, the whole thing was about. But Ice read his and it was like, "We're so proud that you're a Buckeye," or whatever. I was like, "Oh, that's really nice." I'm surprised somebody got me one of those envelopes. And then I opened it up and it said, "You're now on scholarship at Ohio State University." It was just like a lot of exhilaration, happiness. All my teammates, you saw their reactions. So it was just a really special moment for me. And I was really glad I got to experience that in that fashion with my whole team. You saw how they all jumped me. So it was a really cool experience. So.
Any conversations in particular stick out with you, maybe with coach or a teammate or your parents or anything like that after that moment?
Immediately after the whole celebration with the team, I just remember hugging Coach Holtman and hugging Coach Diebler and just thanking them, and it was just really cool to be able to share that moment with them. And then my parents thankfully went to the game, and so I went out there. I didn't tell them straight up. I just gave them the envelope, and my dad opened it and read it, and his eyes lit up. And then my mom looked over his shoulder and read it, and she started tearing up and crying. So it was just a really cool experience to share with all my support system at the game, which was awesome.
What does the scholarship do for you? How does that change your personal life, your personal situation? How does it help you?
Helps me immensely. Going from, I was at scholarship at my prior school at the Citadel, and then kind of taking that leap into a walk-on position. I was really grateful for my parents, letting me be able to do that, and financially supporting that decision. And that was a decision that kind of weighed on me a little bit in the decision factor, and taking a walk-on role. And so now being able to be placed on scholarship, I'm just so thankful and grateful for it, and to be able to help my parents out, so they don't have to pay anymore, help me pay for college, so that's nice.
What went into the decision to ultimately walk on here? I'm sure that you had a lot of things you were trying to figure out at that point, but what was that decision process like, and why did you think this was the right place to be?
Yeah, so basically where I was at, I was in the portal for a little while after my coaches got fired. All of my other teammates were leaving, so I kind of lost the whole reason I was at the Citadel was because of the people I was surrounded by. And so when I was looking for a new place, it was really just the same things I was looking for as the people. I just wanted to surround myself with great people that would support me and wanted what's best for me. And when I was talking to schools, Division II schools and stuff, I wasn't really finding what I was looking for. And then Coach Nettie called me and gave me that opportunity to come back home. I really want to be closer to home, and then obviously play for the Ohio State University. That's a dream come true. So ultimately I just ran it by my parents, and they were like, "Well, obviously you're the most excited about this, so let's do it." So that was wraps.
Coach Holtman said that you not only give them something in practice playing as a scout team center, but if they need you to in a game, you could step in and play at this Big Ten level. How comfortable do you feel if that were to happen, and how do you embrace that role of kind of the practice guy, giving them the right looks there?
Yeah, that's something we talked to almost on the first day of me coming up here. That's a role that I'm very comfortable in. I've always known that'd be my role when stepping into this program. I know how important it is to be a great teammate. That's one of our core values in there in the locker room. That's something I really try and embrace as a walk-on, but also knowing, if Zach goes down, if Felix goes down, if some situation arises, I could, step on the court and play. And so it's my job to not only be a great teammate and embrace that walk-on role, but to also make sure I'm ready if I'm needed on the court. So, practicing and getting in workouts and stuff, so I'm ready if that situation ever arises.
Roddy was talking about staying ready, but that's obviously a different situation.
Yeah.
You know, he was playing, and
Mhm.
how do you mentally stay involved, invested, when you know more often than not you're going to just sit on the bench? I mean, no offense, but
Yeah.
you know, how do you stay as invested in a team when the role isn't the role that everyone sees every day, I guess?
Yeah, I think maybe that's harder for some people. For me as an individual, I just love like being a part of like a team, especially this team. Like we're a family, and so practice. I don't see practice just like, oh, it's just another practice. Like, oh, I have to get through this. Like I view it as like, okay, if I come like ready to play and I push Zed and I push Felix, like that could be the difference in like us winning a game or not. So I kind of view it more as like, I feel like practice matters like a lot to me. So like I view it in that sense. I don't know if that answered the question. Yeah.
How do you feel about Roddy saying you're one of the funniest people he knows?
I don't know. I'm surprised. You know, a lot of people think I'm funny. I don't know if I'm the funniest guy ever, but I guess that's how they perceive me. It's all good and well.
You talk about family and team and like how much you value those relationships. The times that I've gotten to watch them practice, you take a beating.
Mhm.
What allows you to keep getting up and doing that and going through that, knowing that it's probably not going to result in playing time that most people are going to see? How physical has the beating been, and what is it like putting up with that on a daily basis?
Yeah, I mean, it's something I embrace. I mean, I feel like even if I wasn't going against Zed and Felix, even if I was back at like a smaller Division I school, it's just my play style. I really like to just be very physical and like rebound, and like that's part of basketball that I enjoy, honestly. It's just the physicality of it. You know, it takes some like anger out, whether it's through school or whatever, just through basketball. So I enjoy that, and then my body holds up, you know, because of all the stuff we go through with Q and the strength training and the training room and all that stuff. You know, it's just they make sure our bodies can take that kind of thing. So yeah.
You mentioned Ohio State being like a dream type of situation for you. Where you grew up, there could be a lot of different college schools you might be interested in. What was your familiarity with Ohio State basketball growing up?
Yeah, I knew it pretty well. A lot of my friends at school were diehard Ohio State fans. I grew up very familiar with Ohio State, went to some games with my friend. So I was pretty familiar with Ohio State University in basketball, yeah.
Do you have a side in the crosstown shootout?
Growing up, I was always on the Xavier side. It was unpopular among my friends. They were all Bearcat fans, but me and my friend Max were big Xavier fans.
Go ahead.
Owen, what did your time at the Citadel shape you as a player? What did you take away from that experience?
It was a wild experience. I'm very grateful for having went there, and just, if anything, the biggest thing I drew from there is just like the mental strength and the mental adversity I had to overcome. Just being in that military setting, having to juggle my military obligations and my academic obligations and Division I basketball player obligations. It just helped me a lot with like structuring my life, like time management wise, just being able to get through like hard things. I think that's the biggest thing I took from it.
Yeah, how much different is college at Ohio State versus college at the Citadel?
I don't think I can put into words how different it is, honestly. That was probably the biggest adjustment going from there to here, was just like the freedom you have as being a normal college student. You know, your day is not structured from when you wake up to when you go to bed. So that was probably the biggest difference that I had to adjust. But thankfully I got here in June, so I had a full summer to like adjust to that. So that was good.
How did Duke this year compare to Duke last year?
Obviously last year I played in that game, so I had a different perspective. But I would say they were just as physical. You know, Duke's always going to be a physical team. And they had some towers last year. And I think, yeah, they were just still a very physical team from what I could tell. But that was the biggest thing I took when I played last year, was just how physical they were.
And do you have so far a favorite Big Ten big that you've had to impersonate?
Probably Zach Edey.
How do you do that?
You know, you just do the best you can, you know, like me and Coach Owens, he's in charge of the scout team, so we go through, like, before practice, like, I have that next after this, like, I'll go up there and we'll run through all the scout team plays, and he'll kind of tell each one of us, like, how we're supposed to play, you know, kind of replicate their game the best we can. Zach Edey was fun just because I had the responsibility of getting the ball most of the time and, like, doing the workload on the scout team that day because, you know, Zach Edey, they run the ball through Zach Edey a lot and all their plays because he's such a monster in the post. But yeah, I guess I just tried to do my best to replicate what Coach Owens was trying to tell me to do. You know, whether that was force the double and then pass it out on the perimeter, or just go super hard to the glass, you know, use my left shoulder, right hook, you know, just do whatever they're kind of telling me to do. But yeah.
Oh, and you said it was sort of a dream to be able to come here. What's been sort of your favorite memory on or off the court since you got here?
Well, now my favorite memory is definitely getting that scholarship in the locker room. But before that, honestly, my favorite memories have been just like with the team, whether it's like summer workouts, especially like grinding like on Friday at 6 a.m. You know, you grow together a lot through those experiences, whether it was we were doing, you know, sandbag lunges with like 50-pound sandbags on our back around the shot, or, you know, going to the stadium running at 6 a.m. Like, in the moment that was like terrible, like you don't enjoy that, but looking back is like we got so much closer to those things. So I really appreciate those training sessions.
And then you've been one of the guys, no matter who it is, just sort of having that energy on the bench. I'm just curious, where does that come from? Just to be able to celebrate a guy's bucket after every single possession.
I just love my teammates, and I really love to win. So, you know, with the role I have, I really just want to do whatever I can to help us win, whether that's motivate them, you know, pick them back up if they have a bad play. You know, you can't focus on missing a shot. You got to get back on defense. So if I can, you know, get up and like tell them like, hey, let's go. You got to get back, or like just encourage them or do whatever I can to help us win. That's why I like doing that so much.
All right. Oh, and last thing, biology major, right?
Mm.
Still want to be a heart surgeon?
Yes, sir.
Where did that come from?
I think it stems from my mom's a OB nurse, so I grew up going to the hospital with her when my dad was at work, and I kind of just hung out in the break room, you know, talked to all of her nurse friends and stuff. And then also in high school, I went to, I'd applied for a special field trip, and I got to watch an open heart surgery, and that's where I really found out that I wanted to do that. That's like I always wanted to do either like a surgery or architecture, and then when I went and watched the open heart surgery, I was like, yeah, I'm doing that. So.